Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to another Collector's Haven. I'm Mike Pingel. And guess what? Today we got the Toy Smuggler in the house. Yes. I don't know. He hasn't been to my house. He hasn't smuggled any of my toys out yet, but I don't know. We're going to get to the bottom of why he's called this Toy Smuggler. But his collection is a massive collection. He started collecting Star Wars, G.I. Joes, He-Man, and that has turned into a lifetime of collecting all those beautiful toys behind you. Kevin, thank you and welcome to the show.
Hey, man, glad to be here, Mike. Love to be on this show. Been looking forward to it. I know we took a couple weeks just trying to get through my crazy schedule, but I'm here. I'm ready to go, man. Here to talk about all this awesome vintage goodness, if you know what I mean, brother.
I know, I can see it. But first off, why are you called the Toy Smuggler?
Well, pushing about 4 years ago when I first got into YouTube about 5 or 6 years ago through my independent film series called Paranormal Chasers. Well, I went through that. We created 4 movies, and I did a short little stint, a little YouTube series. Done like 5 or 6 episodes on that. By that time, I was burnt out, wore out. So took a break, ended up moving. I ended up became a dad again after all my other kids are adults. I ended up becoming a dad all over again.
Wow.
So I took about a year off, just really doing nothing but just, hanging out with my little girl after she was born. And then I said, okay, I got to get back in the game. What do I want to do? And, I thought, I'm just going to do what I love to do. I love toys. And then during that break is when I started watching Retro Blasting, Dave from Toy Polloi and Analog Toys and stuff like that. And I was like, and I was watching one of them, and I think it was Tony or Dave one, I can't remember which one it was, made a comment. My wife was walking behind me. She goes, well, that sounds like something you would say. So, and I was like, I said, I thought about doing one of these. She goes, you could do it. You got enough junk. so needless to say, I had some time off, and like I said, I thought, well, what the heck, I'll just have some fun with it, and I got into it, and I thought, heck, any idiot can sit in front of a camera and talk about toys, so I should be qualified. So
it's true.
So I just got on there, and then real quickly, I started showing a few videos on me doing restorations, because I've been a professional artist for, since 2004. I've been a professional artist, and I've been doing art for over 40 years. Wow. So about 45 years, actually. So I actually started oil painting when I was 3. So I've been doing that for ages. So, and when I started showing a couple of videos, I got connected with my own local retro toy shop. They do games and stuff like that, and they sell vintage toys. And I was in there, and I told the owner how I showed him a quick picture on how I'd done a restoration on some R2-D2s. And just so happened, a guy brought some stuff in, and he had an R5-D4. He handed it to me. He said, bring it back. Let me see what you really got. And this R5-D4 was trashed. Brought it in. Boom. He said, man, this looks like it just came fresh right out of the pack back in 1978. And boom, I've not looked back. And I mean, I probably restored over 200 toys for him.
Wow.
In the last 3 to 4 years, and that's how the Toy Smuggler. That's why I thought, heck, I need an official name here. I need a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
And being in the wrestling business for 21 years, I really know gimmicks. So, and the Toy Smuggler, it just, when I said it for the first time, I was like, that is me. That's me. It's got I wanted to have that sci-fi retro, Star Wars Flash Gordon film, and boom, when I created it, just came together super fast. And
when I hear you like the Han Solo of toys. That's what I hear.
Yeah, exactly. So
so do you do that
don't leave
for other
stuff
people,
out.
or just for do you restaurate for other people, or just for the store that you work with?
Oh, I do it for anybody and everybody. So, I mean, I have people down in South Alabama, all the way up to North Kentucky, you name it. I mean, I got customers a little bit of everywhere in the South. So, like I said, I do it for the store because, I do it for them because they give me store credit. which, man, it really racks up. And so, and plus I get first dibs on all the cool stuff that comes in. So when we have a big, huge lot coming in, hey, Kevin, we got a big pile of stuff. I go in there and go through it. So not only do I get to restore cool stuff for them and get credit, I get first dibs on some really hot items that the hard to find stuff that just every once in a while some old lady's digging, having her great grandson clean out her attic, and she said, "Here, go get rid of that stuff," and they don't know what it is. So.
All right, so I'm going to say it here, and everybody out there, I'm going to say it. If you find any Charlie's Angels rare stuff, you call me.
Okay, I will do that, definitely.
Find those walkie-talkies.
That's hard. You don't see that too often. So.
No, I know. But I'm making everybody my little angel clones. Go find them.
Actually, now that you said that, I think I got a contact down in South Alabama around Gulf Shores. So I'll make a phone call for you, brother. So
thank you. We won't talk anymore about it. We'll talk offline. Well, I don't want I don't want all my angel people know what's going on. But okay, so you restore all these toys. What is the craziest toy you've restored?
Ooh, the craziest. I tell you, it was I think it's made through Hot Toys. Okay. I think they subcontract for Hot Toys, and the piece comes out of the Netherlands. And it was the 12-inch scale Hoth diorama that you see for the Han Solo and Leia. Well, Michael up here at Battlegrounds ordered one for the guy. And this is like the 6th or 7th piece that he's ever bought from this guy. And it's those, $300 items that are just immaculate on how they're put together. Well, unfortunately, when this thing arrived at the store, it was broken in nearly a dozen pieces. And I found 17 other fractures off. I mean, it's like somebody took a ball bat to it. So instantly he calls me. As soon as he unpacked it, he said, "Man, you got to come to the store today." So I showed up, and he never tells me what. He just says, "You need to come to the store. There's an emergency." So, and it's usually when I hear the word emergency, that means it's something of his, not really the store's. So anyway, I get up there and he shows me, and I was like, in shock on what it was, and then I was in shock on how badly damaged it was. So anyway, I said, dude, I'll do what I can. I said, he said, I just want it to look great. I don't care what you got to do to. He said, they gave me a full refund. So he said, feel free to do whatever you want to do. So I was like, okay, good. That's a lot of pressure off of me I know he had his refund. So that means if I screwed it up, I'm still good. So, but anyway, I brought it home. I piddled on it over the weekend. I made it like my priority, project, because it's one of them things I had to work on it, let it dry. I had to piddle on it and walk away for a few hours. So I piddled on it over 3 days. So I brought it in on a Tuesday, and his mouth hit the floor, dude. He just jaw dropped. He said, "Man, this one looks better than the prototype picture on the internet." So boom, and he said, "That's why I called you." Bottom line. So that's probably was the toughest. And what the funny thing was, the original piece was supposed to be like 7 pounds. When I got done with it, it weighed like 27 pounds. Because all the walls are hollow. So what I did was I filled all the walls and made them all solid as a rock. So yeah, you had to use some muscle to carry. I said, put this on the bottom of your IKEA glass shelf, not on the top. It'll help hold everything else, make it steady. So.
Earthquake proof it. So it doesn't move. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see some of the stuff you've done, and we're going to show some. Of course, it's on my face right now. So, when I say that, that's kind of weird when I say it's on my face, but it's just the pictures on my face.
Yeah.
So when was the first time you started collecting? Was it as a kid, or was it later on, or was it?
I guess technically you could say I was collecting as a kid, because I was hardcore. Like I said, when '82 hit, when Reagan lifted that band up with the cold cartoons and toys, been able to do together. That's when the G.I. Joe and then the He-Man cartoon came out, and that's when really the toy world exploded. And the fever was on, dude. I was full on buying like crazy right there till probably about the middle of 1987, somewhere around 87. That's when, the dad had the talk, "Son, you're too old for toys." We all get that talk.
Didn't we all get that talk?
We all got that talk, and that was very depressing for me. But at the same time, it really was the perfect time, because by 87, it's the funny thing happened, that even though that big explosion just happened 5 years prior to that, bam, we really hit the wall, because about 87, G.I. Joe took a weird left turn. He-Man was taking a weird left turn. You know, everything kind of went a little wacky. It got out of hand. I think that was the deal. It was such a big boom. The toy industry went from 0 to 60 overnight, so to speak. And I just think it got overwhelming. I think most of the toy companies got greedy. And by that time, Star Wars done had Return of the Jedi. So Star Wars had done came and gone. So, I mean, so there was a big gap. So by that time, really as a buyer and collector, it wasn't much fun at that moment, if you know what I mean. So really it came at a good time. But then I got back into it. Like I said, I started pro wrestling in 1993. And by the spring of 94, I found myself, I was in Morristown, Tennessee, wrestling and helping out with the wrestling school for Smoky Mountain Championship Wrestling. And so during the daytime and the afternoon, I was bored. I mean, so I would walk around that old little town, and I just so happened to go by, I was on the old part of town on the little strip, and I walked by one of those little bitty antique shops where all the little stores are. And I said, okay. I remember my mom dragging me to these as a kid. So I thought, okay, out of habit, I'll walk through one. And boom, I found a shoe box that had a Luke Skywalker, a Darth Vader, a Stormtrooper in it. And dude, the fever hit all over again. And guess what I did? I took them home and I restored them. And I didn't even know that was called restoring back in those days. That term was not even out. And like I said, that was a spring of 94, and by roughly, I think, spring of 97, I had my own official toy room like you see here. Wow. And back in those days, I'd never heard of that. I was like the weirdest guy that everyone knew, because like I said, I was in professional wrestling, and other wrestlers would bring their kids over to my house on the weekends, and they would go for a tour of my house. And back then, it was all a legitimate Star Wars room.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all legitimate, this complete Star Wars. And that's when, you know, the 95 is, the whole power of the Force started back up. So 97, Star Wars was in the stores like crazy. So, I mean, I had that green lightsaber everywhere. I mean, because all my stuff was in, of course, they was in packages, because we all thought they was going to be gold one day. You know, we yes. All idiots and fell for it. So, the whole deal, you buy one, you buy two to collect, and you buy the third one just in case. That whole slogan. So, but like I said, I was the only person that I knew, and I knew a lot of people because I traveled the wrestling circuit, but I've never heard of anybody having a toy room. But obviously, now that I've gotten involved with YouTube and found out how long everyone else was doing it, I wasn't the only crazy idiot out there to get into this stuff and to behave this way, I guess is what you could call. So I found out that I actually was quite normal versus everybody thought I was abnormal. So.
Well, you're normal in some with the rest of us. So what was your very first piece that you collected as a kid, or was it the box that you got?
As a kid, I got a couple of them right here. I got into the Mego Planet of the Apes. Mego was the big thing for me as a kid. I was born in 72, so these guys come out, Mego was hot in 1974. So it was, and my whole world as far as action figures was the Mego apes or the Mego Batman and Robin stuff. That was my go-to toys for ages. I mean, until Star Wars hit. So, and then when Star Wars hit, Mego, we all know, kind of plummeted after that. So they steadily went downhill, unfortunately. And then it just was because of the Star Wars had the deal with the play sets and all the spaceships and stuff, where the Mego, it was the concentration on just the figure. And unfortunately, they really didn't go deep into the ape line, which I hope they do now. I think I think they got their heads on straight, and I think the Mego stuff's going to explode in the next few years and stuff. But like I said, they just didn't get to do that back in the day. And at the same time, Marty Abrams was his plan was 25 years early. You see what I'm saying? He was ahead of the curve, a little too ahead of the curve, where George Lucas was, let's change the world here and now. And that's what he did. He offered a new product that launched so many new different items, and they all could fit in your hands. And so it's more suited for kids, I think, and that's why it attracted all of us. And then, like I said, that just opened the door for He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe changed their ways and went from 12-inch to 3 3/4. And look how many figures they made. Oh my gosh, you can't even count. You could devote a house to G.I. Joe. I mean, it's sickening. I have one bookshelf, and that's when I fill that up, I'm done.
That's great. So how are you feeling about the retros now? Like for He-Man's, all these retros are coming out, and Mego is all this stuff.
If I had to compare apples to oranges, really the retro lines, it's Star Wars or the He-Man. I think the He-Man is got the better deal going on. Bottom line, because like I said this on many of my YouTube channels and stuff, that a little over a year ago, Mattel made the greatest decision on mixing vintage Motu with WWE, in which here's when I was a kid, I had the old AWA wrestling figures, and many times Ric Flair was fighting He-Man, for the heavyweight title. I was doing that back then. And I'm sure other guys my age back in those days was doing the exact same thing. So now here we are. Even though I became a wrestler, all these other guys became wrestling fans watching it on TV. Now they got kids. So it was just natural to put these two objects together. If you want to introduce He-Man to young kids, give it to where their dads will be introducing it for them. So by putting these two markets together, Mattel's advertising it, but the dads are selling it to their kids. That's they turned every dad that was like that back in those days into salesmen. So I think Mattel, by doing this, created the greatest marketing strategy in the history of toys in the last 30 years. Bottom line. So, and it's working. So it's bottom line. You look at the He-Man stuff, it don't stay on the shelf. I mean, it's flying off, so you can't find it. So.
I saw some at Target, and then it was gone. So
gone, yeah. So I've lucked up and got a few pieces. I got one of the new Clamp Champs and Ram Mans at normal prices.
I know that's the other thing. It's on the shelf, and then it's not on the shelf, and it's like double the price now on eBay and wherever else. How do you feel about that as far as the Toy Smuggler?
Sickening. Well, just to kind of tell you the type of guy I am, and I'll turn the camera around here in a minute. I actually found in this little bitty Somerville, a town middle of nowhere, and I found 5 flocked Panthers on a Walmart shelf. I easily could have bought all 5 of them, took them up here to Battlegrounds, and sold 4 of them, and pretty much got mine for free. Because that's what I would have told him. I said, here, I want to sell them for what this ticket says. That way, 4 of them, that way I get mine for free. I could have easily done it, and he would have gave me the money for it. But then I would be the guy that I'm pissed at because I can't find other stuff. You see what I'm saying? So that's where, somewhere not only am I a collector, but, at the same time, you got to be a good person. I hate that I have to pay double for something that I shouldn't have to pay double for over these scalpers. So for me to be a scalper, to do that, but yet to bitch for other people doing it, you can't play both sides of the fence. So I bought mine and I left the other 4. And now if someone comes behind me and does that, I can't control that. So, but here's how we all can control it. Don't buy from these people. Wait 6 months, they'll sit on it and they'll drive them crazy and they'll drop the price on it.
Yep, exactly.
So,
exactly. So, well, let's look at some of your collection. Can we do that now?
Yep. All right. Let me get this
Hey.
all in hook right here. That way I got tripod free here.
Now,
I'll just show you what's on the table first. Well, I can show you right here on this shelf. Kind of give you a little tour of the room here. Got a little top shelf up here. I got the Ghostbusters Firehouse. And that is the new Target Echo 1 in there. And it is the one, if you got it online, there's two versions. They had a rusty front end version. That's the online version. But if you buy it in the stores, it don't have the rusty burnt grill. That's how you know which one you're buying, where you get it online or whatever.
Why are the Jawas hanging out over there?
Oh. I actually bought a box of some He-Man figures off of a guy about a month ago, and I found these at the bottom of the box. So I'm going to be clean. I set them out because these guys are so little. If I put them up, I'll never restore them. So then I got a Fortress of Fangs here. Just picked this up down in Powder Springs, Georgia, at a toy swap. Martin Gillard from the Atlanta Toy Show. Great guy, great toy con down there in Atlanta. One of the best ones I've ever been to, bottom line. Then we got some of the Black Series stuff here. Yeah, look how expensive. There she is. Luckily, I smart and got mine before everybody went stupid about it.
That's good.
So,
I love that everything's like in little scenes and stuff. I love it.
Yeah, things got a little I got a Night Raven at that toy swap, and he's actually getting ready to get moved over here. I had some big Jim stuff on my G.I. Joe shelf, and I just bought me another shelf this morning, and so I've been kind of rearranging them. And actually, this right here is actually going to be going to the other room, so I can put more Star Wars stuff here, in this area. So a lot of vintage stuff. Like I said, I'm mostly a vintage person, but when I see something that's I'm a sculptor, so I'm a toy designer. So if it's sculpted very well, I'll get it. And I'm gotten into Black Star. I've always loved Black Star, but number two, finding Black Star stuff is about ridiculous. And so we got the lovely Kraken here. That was a childhood desire that I never got met as a kid. And I just recently got this Well of Souls put together. I finally broke down, and it's just cost too daggone much. So, but finally I broke down, and I spent 2.5 months wheeling and dealing on eBay with different people, and finally got it all put together. So.
Oh, for what? For the Indiana Jones?
The Well of Souls here. Yeah.
That's really, how much does that, may I ask, how much does that run for?
About $350 to $400 loose.
Really? Is it because it was just something that they didn't make a lot, or is it just?
Yeah, they didn't make a lot of them, and it didn't hang around a lot for about a little over a year. Then that whole line was gone. So I got a custom Jabba the Hutt palace up there that I'm been building on. So you can see I got some He-Man Origins here, going up and down the wall. Get spun around here. You can see my workspace over here. This is where I design like the Bantha, the Slave Leia that's coming out, and I just got done creating 6 Motu figures that's going to come out late this year or early next year. So.
And where are they coming out through?
The Fan Strikes Back.
Okay.
And yeah, and here's this G.I. Joe shelf. Right up there on the top, I'm going to be clearing that off. That's where that Night Raven's going to go. But as you can see here, and one thing I loved about the early years of G.I. Joe, if you look here, you see a lot of green, good military green. And that was the downfall of vintage G.I. Joe, is they started going with wacky colors and stuff. So, and this is where I'm bringing stuff down on the empty shelf. I was working on this when I was waiting on you to call. So I was doing that and Migos. I got a huge Migo collection, and I don't know if I can get the camera to reach up there, but on the very top up there is some carded Robin Hood movie figures. I finally got that entire collection carded. And where I told you I did movies, here are the 4 movie posters from the 4 movies that I created. And my last movie poster, well, I knew it was going to be my last movie, so I did a Drew Struzan style painting of my last movie poster. So I did it the same way he does movie posters. So
beautiful, beautiful.
And then here is the original Bantha that the metal molds were made off of. So I still got the original one. So yeah, all my Migos are in my office. So
well, that is
so that's the crazy. This is the toy room and where I do some work in the office back there. I got it Migo heavy. I'm surrounded by Migos. And that's the new shelf I was telling you about is where all my oddball stuff. I'm moving all my Indiana Jones in there because I got a big, huge 3-foot by 5-foot rug that I airbrushed Indiana Jones on.
Wow.
And stuff. It was the second portrait I ever did of anybody, and I did it of course Indiana Jones. So who else are you going to airbrush? So it actually turned out really good. And so I'm doing the Indiana Jones, all my D&D, Fortress of Fangs, and I got some big Jim shelf, and then I got extra new Migos that are still in the case on the bottom shelf. Just for, I can't display all. Unfortunately, it's hard to display Migos. No matter how you look at it, they're not easy to display.
Yep. So in your collection, what do you think is the wackiest item you have that was produced?
The wackiest. I remember you sending me that question, and probably the wackiest items. That is such a tough. Probably the wackiest ones would have to be probably the Black Star stuff, because it was kind of a bootleg off of the He-Man series. But I tell you what, I loved them as a kid, but I didn't get a chance to buy them. I never saw them in the stores as a kid. If I did, I was so He-Man obsessed I didn't care. So, but as going on later on in becoming a toy designer and stuff, the more and more I look at these guys and the creativity, they're designed just like almost the exact duplicate. It is a true He-Man ripoff. I'm not going to lie to you. It was, but there's a lot of great fantasy elements here, and over the years I've just learned to appreciate it. And like I said, I'm a toy designer, so to me it's a lot about the story elements and the design elements and stuff. That's what drives me as a collector now, and that's what drives me as a toy. I'm actually going to be next year redesigning the whole entire Black Star line myself. I'm coming up with a whole reimagined line of it and everything, where like these guys here where all the stuff is sculpted on them. I'm going to be designing them like He-Man, where all that stuff could come off. So the only thing I'm not going to be able to do is the whole sparking mechanism. That's just, I don't think I would have to reinvent it by using Bic lighter technology, because yeah, you couldn't make it. You would have to buy the parts and have the Chinese people put it in there. And it's, when you get into buying from different companies and sending it, things get lost overseas. And as soon as I promise everybody that something will be sparking, something will happen and it wouldn't happen. So
absolutely.
So keep it simple. Biggest thing is concentrate on good sculpts, really putting the Black Star imagination to it, and just create a better product. Bottom line is what I'm looking at doing. So yeah. Bottom line, if I'm happy with it, I just don't see how other people can't be happy with it. So
in your whole collection, what was the hardest thing for you to acquire?
The hardest thing was the Kraken. The Kraken back here. That was the toughest one, and it was actually, the purchase of it was one of them, it wasn't really planned kind of deal. It was like, I knew I wanted it. I gave up looking for it, and then what sparked the thought of it again, because there forever you could get one of these guys for $300, and then even at $300, I thought I'm not paying $300 for one of these things. I just can't do it. And boom, you know how you get on eBay and you just type in vintage toys just to see what pops up, and boom, there it was, going for $600 to $700 right now. And this was a year ago. So, and it's still climbing, by the way. So I thought, okay, I guess that just sealed the deal. I'll never have this one in my collection. So anyway, I'm up at Battlegrounds and talking with Michael, the owner, and I was just letting him know. I said, yeah, we always share info, what we see going on in the toy business. And I was telling him, I said, yeah. I said, dude, if you come across a Kraken, get your hands on it, because they just doubled in prices just the years lately. And he said, well, won't you call that guy Kevin up in Eastridge? And I was like, oh yeah, I know Kevin. I used to buy all my Star Wars stuff. It's a guy up in Eastridge, Tennessee. He was just he had a booth at a flea market, but he had crazy good stuff, crazy good price. And I remember that Kraken sitting in a glass case, $350. Now, this was more than 5 years ago, and then he gets sick and he goes out of business for a while. So his health kind of went down, so he ends up closing it. And so I forgot about it. And by that time, I knew I couldn't afford it anyway. So I said, you know what? I think I still got his phone number. So I pulled my cell phone out of my pocket, and I said, yep, there's his number. I said, and I don't know if he even still has that phone number. And I call it, but I got his answer machine. I said, well, obviously he still got it. I told him who I was, left him a message. 2 days later, he finally calls me back. And he said, oh, yeah, I still got it. It's in the very back of my garage, still in the box. He said, but if I sell it to you, I got 4 figures that I would want to sell with it, because either I get rid of the whole box or I don't get rid of it all. I said, sure. Send me pics when you dig it out and let me know the price. Well, 2 or 3 more days went by. He finally sends me pics. And I'm like, oh, there's a Kraken. And he had 4 figures. It was one of the soldier guys, the boat keeper, and what was the devil guy? I done went crazy. But anyway, all 4 figures were complete. Wow. Which is hard to get your hands. So I'm sitting there doing the math on the figures, and the figures all together, well over $100 the value, because like I said, they all was complete. They probably were worth anywhere between $40 and $50. So it was north of $150 just for the figures. And he said, I'll do all of it for $400. And I said, sold.
Yes.
I said, if I don't say sold now, then I wasn't going to do it. And luckily, I had just a month or so before that made a good deal selling He-Man figures. So the timing just happened to be right. So, and that's how it fell down. Boom. So anyways, like I said, I had that big sale with the He-Man figures. So it all fell out right. I had some funds to do it, and I had some credit. Michael let me turn some of my credit into cash. Ooh. So between the two, yeah. So and he just wanted to help me, and I said, well, I'll do a favor for you down the line. I think I done a couple good favors for him. So, and it just worked out. And I said, if I don't, I'll never see it again at this price. So I pulled the trigger on it. And that year, and that really was the figure. That was in January of last year. And last year, even though COVID and all that other bull crap, out of my top 10 holy grails, I think I bought 7. Wow. In 1 year. So yeah, it was. And the year before that, I didn't buy not even a 1 in my top 15. So, but that's the toy business. You're in this, and you hit these long, dry spells. You don't find nothing vintage goodness, or if you do find it, it's either you can't afford it or it's roached out.
Or people outbid you on eBay about it. So yes.
Yeah. So, and then you hit these little hot spots. You get lucky, and boom. And you just got to take it, enjoy it, and then when it's over with, sit back and just enjoy it until the next hot spot. So
that's right. Is that one of the reasons you love collecting, is the hunt, that searching for?
I love the hunt. I love the preserving the history part of it, because I do feel that, you know, all these toys like you see sitting right here on your shelf, these were not designed by a computer. These were designed by guys just like me, sculptors. They got the old clay, they got the wax out and hand carved this stuff, and, you know, designed it by hand. A lot of it was out of wooden parts back in the day. Is either wood, wax, or clay. That was the three mediums they used back in the day to make the prototypes. And toys today, don't get me wrong, I think the ZBrush and the digital stuff has its place, but I think just like anything else digital, you rely on too many filters and buttons. And like when like designing a robot, they only design one side of it, then they hit that mirror image button. Well, when they designed this guy right here, they didn't have that technology. They had to sculpt it, and they had these calipers that they were measuring on both sides to make sure each arm was the same. And and the funny thing was, sometimes it wasn't exactly the same. And then, like, if you look at the face of Castle Grayskull, one eye is bigger than the other. One of the big teeth is bigger than the other one. It's not perfect. But when you look at it versus the new one that's coming out, this one still looks better. Mm. And it's all the imperfections and thickness of it that makes it look better than versus is it digitally and everything perfectly, you know. So there's a certain charm about free-handed design toys, and that's what I'm all about, and that's restoring it and plus designing my own new lines in the future to come. So
now, have you ever met anybody that you collect on, any of the actors or directors or any the stuff that you've collected on? Have you met anybody like that?
Well, I don't try to do it, but luckily, it's one thing in my whole entire, whether it be wrestling career, and then when I moved into doing some acting and then doing the toy stuff, I've always lucked up and met some amazing people along the way. Rob Brown, he helped me teach me some in doing the comic book stuff, because I'd done 9 comic books in my life as well. Wow. But when I got into and I turned my 9 comic book series into the 4 movie series that I talked about earlier. And I was very fortunate. I met a guy by the name of Mark Hanna, who was a local film director here in Dalton, Georgia, and just so happened his best friend was living in, I think, California at the time, moved back. His name was Jeff Burr. He was the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Pumpkinhead 2, and he also did the Puppet Master 4 and 5 at the same time. So when I finally got to meet him, him and Mark started both tutoring in how to direct, how to write scripts and stuff like that. And then it took several years later before I would try attempting. I've just worked with those guys. Anytime they had a project going on, I raised my hand, I'll be there, you know. And I didn't care what I did. I did what they asked me to do, and then I shadowed them for the rest of the time. And just so happened, after, you know, knowing Jeff and Mark Hanna had a cool piece. The Golden Idol from the original Indiana Jones movie, he has one of the 12 plaster casts of that Golden Idol that Harrison Ford ran with during, because he wouldn't run with the good one. The good one, that was just for certain shots. But one that you can tell is one of the original ones, because one of the ears is rubbed off from his jacket from running and stuff through the caves and everything. So I got to hold that. I've been begging him to let me make a cast of that, and he's not let me touch it yet. But through Jeff, now, his claim to fame really was directing Puppet Master 4 and 5 at the same time. I done 2 of my movies at the same time. Whew, it is such an amazing. If you want to test yourself, do 2 movies at once. Oh yeah, that'd drive you insane. It gives you this right here is what it does. That's where this come from and everything. So anyway, one of the nights we had one of our Paranormal Chaser parties, Jeff brought me something really cool. And it was by Full Moon, and it was from the Puppet Master series. Boom. Is the main bad guy from the series. 4 and 5, and boom, you can see here where he signs it. So really cool. And like I said, and him and Mark also got to work. They done a movie here in Dalton called let's see here, I'm trying to remember, the Offspring, and it was actually Vincent Price's last movie, and it was filmed right here in Dalton, Georgia. And I actually just a few years ago was the 35-year anniversary, and I got one of the Blu-rays of it, and he signed the Blu-ray. And I can show you this. The original name of the movie was called From a Whisper to a Scream. Well, on that 35-year anniversary, I actually got a print. It was a very small print of the original movie poster, but it was roached out. So I actually recreated the movie poster back there on the wall, and I redone it, and I made only four copies of it. And the funny thing was, one of the FX artists worked on it, a guy by the name of Merrill Thomason. I had recently met him just 5 years before that, and he was my FX artist on all my Paranormal Chaser movies. So here it is, both of my teachers, and now a guy that I work with in art, and he taught me how to do the whole face-off makeup and all that stuff. Boom, then I find out he worked on that project. So I made 4 movie posters, and we all 4 signed each other's copies of it, and that's the only 4 that is in existence and everything. So it was just that's one of my prized possessions, is that right there, just because of not really the movie, but the people that was involved in the movie, because a big chunk of who I am is by knowing these guys and what these guys have taught and pushed me to be. So and that's where the Toy Smuggler and the artists you see today come from. Those 4 guys and Rob Brown, who didn't work on the project, who helped me with the comic books. Bottom line, I have to give this person here came from those 4 guys. Bottom line. So if I've never met those guys, me and you would not be talking today.
That's amazing. That's what's amazing, that your passion of collecting has turned into this world of artistry and friendships with people that you've learned from. That's amazing. That's an amazing loop of
see, a lot of people look at all these mediums as something different. Mm-hmm. I've always looked at comic books, toys, movies, whether it be cartoons. It's all entertainment, and they're all connected together in some way. Because I've even made my own toys off my own Paranormal, which I've made Mego versions of them. So to me, it's all, and that's where I've learned as an artist how to grow, is when you're burned out on one medium, just don't quit. Just go get on another medium for a while.
Absolutely.
Because it's all storytelling and it's all art design at the end of the day.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
My next question is, what is the most expensive piece you ever bought? And second, how much do you think your collection is worth?
Ooh. The most expensive piece was the Kraken. It's $400 plus the 4 figures. That was the biggest money drop that I've ever did on one single figure, and that will probably be the reigning king from now on. I don't know of anything, because I had a chance just a few weeks ago to purchase the Bigfoot from the $6 Million Man series.
Oh yeah,
and he was going to be $3 1/4 by himself, and I got the money. I just don't want to spend it on just one little item like that, because you know what I'm saying. It's just, and it's mint. There's nothing right. Don't have the box, but he's mint, no scratches. I've seen it. I've held it, and I just I just can't do it.
To have a time travel machine, to go back to 1977, when I went to the store wanting my Charlie's Angels, I should have bought the Sasquatch.
Yeah. I mean, there's several things. I mean, but it's just a funny thing. When we were all kids, we were just having fun.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a simpler.
And that's what I try to remind myself now. Everything that I do now, I'm trying to really. Like I said, I'm a dad again. My little girl just turned 4, and she knows her classic He-Man and her vintage Star Wars like I said, she's very she. You can give her a box and you can tell you Star Wars, He-Man. She knows the difference.
You are teaching her well.
Yes, exactly. And my wife gets we went to Nashville, and I went with her with a buddy, and he lives up in Kentucky. We meet halfway, and we go toy hunting for a day. And she comes in this warehouse, and she's out there looking at books. She comes into the warehouse sale that's going on, and me and my buddy are at this big, huge shelf bin, and my daughter's all the way into the shelf inside of a tote digging. So we all got our own totes digging, and she's in there digging for. I said, honey, let me know if you see any He-Man stuff. And she'll hold it up if she thinks she's finding something. So and she gets lucky because I mean, she can fit in places that we can't. So but that's what I'm trying to do is just pass the joy on to her because she's got her own shelf in her room. She said that's mine and Daddy's collectibles and breakables.
I love it.
And it don't bother her. She don't get up there and mess with it. She knows when she comes in my office, she has her own toy box, and it's full of vintage Star Wars, Ghostbusters, and He-Man figures.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows where her toys are, and so even you think, oh my gosh, how does a 5-year-old? This is where my 5-year-old hangs out every day. She sits right here in front of this computer and watches YouTube, and only thing she touches. I have her own. I'm teaching her art, so. I got her own art supplies, but when she's sculpting with clay, she don't have some of the dangerous tools that I have. So every once in a while, I go there and I find a few of my tools missing, and they're over here in her box. She forgets to put them back, and that's the only reason I know she's touching them. I can't find mine. Then I go, oh, I know where to go look. So I don't get, as long as she don't hurt herself, because some of them's got some really sharp points, and I don't want them poking herself and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But other than that, she'll look. I will say this. I got a set of the Black Series Jawas, and every once in a while they're not standing in where they're supposed to be. So I think she checks them out and looks at them, but she puts them back neatly. She don't just throw it in the floor. So I've seen my Jawas tend to walk away a little bit.
Well, Jawas are adorable. Well, they are adorable,
Yeah.
but they have a mean side to them. All right, my final question. Is there something you are looking for desperately to be in a part of your collection?
I have to say the stuff that I'm mostly on the hunt is I am trying to finish the Filmation Flash Gordon. They made 8 figures, and I have 4 of them. I have the Flash Gordon, the Captain figure, the Ming, and the Thung, the lion, and I'm missing the other 4, and they're extremely difficult to find. So if you know anybody has any of these guys, please let me know because they're just here soon. You're not going to see these again. That's where we're at on these old figures, and so
I understand that. I collect Charlie's Angels from the TV series 1977 to 1978.
Yeah,
and I don't see the stuff a lot. It's
no, and then it's like the $6 Million Man stuff, Big Jim, all that stuff is starting to just disappear. I mean, because especially like with Big Jim and your 12-inch G.I. Joe collectors, most of those guys are the decade before me. So these guys that was kids in the early 60s. So I'm getting ready to be 50. So these guys are knocking on 60. Yeah. So guess what? They're most 60-year-olds aren't getting out and going to toy shows. They're not buying. I mean, they're trying to retire. If anything, they're trying to drop all that stuff so they can have retirement money. So, I mean, those guys are getting out of it. And unfortunately, no one's buying their stuff because, even though as much as I like G.I. Joe and I love and have a great appreciation for the 12-inch G.I. Joe stuff, I have a very small collection of that stuff. Because that's a whole new debt to get involved in if you just go into 12-inch G.I. Joe, and then you got all the side stuff, which is the big. See, I remember Big Jim because I had a cousin that was a few years older than me. I think he's about 4 years older than me, so he was into the Big Jim, so I got to play with his Big Jim toys. So, and I just recently got another Holy Grail. I got the Big Jim Gorilla. Yeah, I finally got my hands on that, and I found it for a great price, and works perfectly, nothing broke. And so, but my big gym collection is extremely small. I'm just going to add a few more pieces to it and call it done, you know. And I got the truck camper. I got a couple of the Eagles that, you know, went through the Mo2, and instead of, you know, the Tarzan, the Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to buy original Panther on card for $100 when I can take an old Panther, which is the exact same thing, and just strip the fuzz off of it. I mean, because what they did was when they took it off the shelves, they put all the stuff in, they didn't have dollar bins back in those days. They just took all their stuff back, and they put it all back in warehouses. Well, all that big gym stuff just went and got all the old Panthers just got flocked. That was all wave year 1 and 2 that got flocked was stuff that was from the 60s. They just reused it. So it's the exact same. And then the future ones are made out of the exact same molds. The dates are still say 1968. Look on your if you have a vintage Battle Cat, look inside its thigh. It says 1968.
Well, there
not
you go.
1986.
You learned something new here, folks. You learned something new.
So I know that. So I'm gonna make my own Panther. So that's where the artist, you know, Emmy makes my collection a little bit better versus if I just ignorant to that part of it. Yeah, I'd be very limited on my collection.
That's fantastic. So if anybody has that or anything they want to sell you or hire you for something, where can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on Facebook, Sexton Creations, and you can also become a member at on YouTube at Toy Smuggler. So that's the two best places to get a hold of me. Just shoot me a mail, make a comment to me on one of my videos. I try to answer every video. If you put a statement, I don't care if it's ugly. I'll give you thumbs up for giving me an ugly comment. I don't care. So long as you're interacting on my channels, it's you know, like I said, I was doing a lot of videos, but now since I'm heavily into the design stage of everything, like I said, I got a total of 7 figures going to China next month. I just sent them off to be the final inspection.
Wow.
So I got that going on. And then too, where I used to be a professional wrestler, I retired about 6 years ago, but now I'm involved in Taekwondo.
Wow.
So I'm very heavy in that. I take Taekwondo 4 days a week. So that's just me trying to get in better physical shape. I love the art of it. And my daughter takes it as well. So it's something that a daddy-daughter thing that we're doing together. So because one day she's going to be you know, graduating from high school, and I want them to look at their dad and not see Papa, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think she's going to. She's going to see wonderful times you guys had. Kevin, thank you so much for taking time today and showing us your collection and sharing your passion for collecting. I so appreciate it.
Hey, dude, it was my pleasure. And like I said, dude, this is just something that I love to do. I love sharing it with other people, and I love helping other people with their collections. So if you're looking for a contact to help keep their eyes out for you, if you're looking for something weird, it's all about working together, guys. I mean, the more friends you have spread out in other states, that's how you find stuff. Because if not, then you're doing like what I done this weekend. I was up at a Scottish festival watching some bagpipes, but I hit every Walmart from Knoxville to here just to find a few things. You know, that's how unfortunately, that's the game you got to play. It's either you got to spend a whole weekend in the car, or luckily, like I said, I got a buddy up in Kentucky. He finds stuff. We meet up every 3 months and flip-flop product. Then we go toy hunting in Nashville. And that's a great way to hang out with your friends. It helps you stay in contact. And but get out there, guys. Go to find local toy shows in your area, and just mingle with other toy collectors that you got stuff in common with. And then after that, just be a nice person. Be nice to everybody. Don't be out there. This is not about you're not going to make a living off this stuff. I don't care how great of a scalper you are. You're not going to make a living off selling anything new or anything old. So this is supposed to be for fun and enjoyment, a hobby that we can share with others and just have fun with each other and enjoying it, not to get rich. So take the money thing out of it and have some fun with it. You'll enjoy your collecting a whole lot much more.
I couldn't say it better if I wanted to. Kevin, thanks for coming. Everyone out there, thank you for watching the show. Please share it. Please like us. Please put a comment. And if you have a collection and you want to be on my show, I would love to talk to you because I love collectors because I'm a collector myself. Thank you, everybody. Kevin, thank you so much.
It is my pleasure, my honor, brother.
Thank you. Bye-bye.